Restoring Illinois to greatness. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project and hosted by AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan back with Eric Cohen on this edition of Rising and South Side in the He's House. Do kids still say that? I don't know.
Someone does somewhere.
And they say it better than I do. You're in the Woodlawn neighborhood.
Yep.
Amara Enya, who is this young woman running for mayor of Chicago, who's gotten the backing of Chance the Rapper, and this week got just under $75,000 from Kanye West to settle some fines she had with the State Board of Elections, so she can ultimately file to run for mayor next month. They had a little impromptu rally of sorts, not far from where you live. She's a West Sider, you're a South Sider. Maybe between the two of you, you guys can bridge the gap along with Chance and Kanye and bring the city together.
I consider myself a man of the people. I'm always happy to try to bring people together and see what we can do.
Well, the only problem I suspect will be, and we had her on my morning show this week, a very personable, well-spoken young woman, but I mean, commuter tax, LaSalle Street financial tax. She wants to open a City of Chicago bank. Oh, brother.
Yeah.
So, you would think somebody who's involved with the Austin Chamber of Commerce would be a little bit more friendly to, commerce. But Amara is very much cut from the progressive cloth. I think she just presents it better than, say, your Tony Preckwinkles.
Yeah, and perhaps a little more coolly with people like Chance the Rapper and Kanye West by her side.
Sure.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, the idea of the LaSalle Street financial tax and all of that. I mean, it's
get rid of those pesky exchanges and
yeah.
In
a digital age, this is particularly insane, right? Because how easy is it for any of those entities to say, most of our transactions are done online. We don't need to be headquartered here in Chicago. We can go elsewhere. I mean, again, to the theme of, the people with the money can very easily go elsewhere. And it's again, back to these same ideas, paying money for the privilege of commuting into the city of Chicago. And people will stop commuting into the city of Chicago. You'll incentivize some businesses to move their headquarters outside of the city of Chicago, which, we've seen businesses moving both directions. But you want to provide incentives, and people are going to respond to them.
Yeah, and so, so as a Chicago resident, since I haven't heard your take on this, how do you size up the mayor's race, Miss Enya and the rest of them? I think it's sort of really difficult to handicap at this point. I think anybody who tells you they know how this is going to play out is putting you on, because you've got a very soft front runner in Preckwinkle, and then, boy, trying to make heads or tails of Daley and Vallis and McCarthy and Willie Wilson and Dorothy Brown and Amara Enya and on down the line. And with the prospect still of more candidates getting in, like Susana Mendoza,
Mm-hmm.
after she wins re-election on November 6th, she's likely going to be Madigan's candidate for mayor.
Yeah, it's we've seen these before. It's a circus, and it's going to be a circus, and people are going to try to find some way to distinguish themselves amongst this kind of almost indistinguishable pack of some people. It's like, it's a daily, but it's like, your third level daily, not even as influential as some others in the family.
Yeah, it's a daily knockoff almost.
Yeah, replacement level daily, not even. It's a circus, and if I take myself and my point of view out of it for a moment, because I don't really see the kind of beliefs that I have well represented within this body of candidates, it's interesting that I think you may have the kind of same collective action problem that existed in the Republican presidential primary, where it's, you can get somebody unexpected like Donald Trump to get a plurality of people that he can hold on to and end up kind of walking through the middle with, because everybody, it's so diffuse out into the other areas. So the idea that, it's like, well, the most reasonable or the most sensible candidate is going to rise to the top. That's no guarantee.
No.
It's far from a guarantee.
No.
And it could, we should perhaps cheer up, because it could get much, much worse.
Yeah, and somebody that you don't know, like Amara Enya, somebody who's obscure until she was endorsed by rap stars. Could you shoot the gap to get to 15, 17, 20% in a 8, 10, 12-way field? and then sort of capture people's imagination for a runoff against a more established Politico in a city that and a state, I think, that are looking for things that are different and mostly coming up empty, but nonetheless looking. So I think it's really volatile, and could be really interesting. And frankly, if there were a Republican Party, you might have a center-right candidate in there that could shoot the gap the same way that an obscure Amar Enya could too, and at least expand the parameters of discussion going forward into the city of Chicago. But again, my hypothetical is contingent upon a Republican Party that doesn't exist.